Zombies. All right, so zombies haven't been as viable as they have been in the past in this format, and there are a couple reasons for that. It lacks a little bit consistency, and if the opponent gets zombie ward off the field via twisters or other effects like Salamangreat Foxy, then it just really struggles after that point. So it's obviously really weak to back row destruction, and it's hard to really stack your graveyard all in the same turn. But that being said, if you get lucky and your opponent doesn't draw into that back row destruction, zombies can be really powerful and have a lot of really cool plays that you can do. All right, so in this build, we're going to take a look at, we're going to be a little bit unconventional in this build, and do a little bit, try to address the issues that zombies has. So obviously, zombies, probably the biggest problem that it has, it's weak to hand traps, and it's weak in the consistency department. Like, it wants to go first, but sometimes it just bricks so often. So we're going to try to mitigate that the best we can. All right, so for the non-standard cards that are going to make this better, we're gonna focus on a few cards. We're gonna focus on reasoning. All right, reasoning is excellent in zombies, and it's because you carry so many different levels, and a lot of times if you go first, your opponent doesn't really know what you're playing. It's a free summon. That's a good way to stack your graveyard. Now you do kind of have to worry about Ash Blossom maybe, but even if you get Ash Blossom on your summon, then you still can have some really good plays from there, because then you can go into Vampire Sucker. All right, we also have card destruction. Obviously, you love the graveyard. We're going to do Pot of Extravagance. Now, zombies don't really need the extra deck as much as most other decks do. And if you have that Ash bait in there, Ash is going to be really getting Ash already used up is going to be really good. So you don't always have to have the draw too in order to take advantage of what Extravagance is able to do for you. But once you have Extravagance, you're going to be able to make your plays. Obviously, it kind of it contrasts with card destruction and Upstart, but we're not even going to focus on that. That's not that big of a deal. But yeah, those cards are going to be really good for you, and that's going to help you draw into your main floodgate, your main floodgate, which is rivalry. And that if you get rivalry zombie world and they don't have back row destruction, well, GG, you won the game basically. But obviously, you're going to have the +1 from Balderrock if you get Vampire Sucker on the board and you resummon Balderrock on the next standby phase. That's going to be really good. Now, focusing on the extra deck, I think you're going to want to make use of Super Poly. So I think, in my opinion, you're going to want to run 3 copies of certain cards like Starving Venom and your Dragon Necro. I think those would be pretty necessary. But again, you can play around with the build the way you want it. This deck is primarily focusing on certain cards, and I do think it's well worth the risk to get the board lock in this meta with having Pot of Extravagance. To me, that is just essential. And a lot of times, if you get your lock on the board, that's your main win condition, and I don't understand how that could ever be a bad thing. Now we are running 2 Ash. We do want to slow down the opponent a little bit if we're going second. We do. Impermanence is the best hand trap in the game. That's just self-explanatory, and the utility of going second and possibly drawing into it and then removing a very ugly card like Vanity's Fiend or something like that. That's really excellent utility. Then we're running 3 Called By, and I decided to throw Saravis because Saravis, it prevents, it also prevents getting Impermanence. It also prevents that effect failure. This is one of the only counters to actually Impermanence is actually having Saravis, and you need a lot of your zombie effects to resolve on the field. That's why we threw Saravis in there. Everything else in this deck, it's really just about consistency. We have Solitaire and Unizombie, and we want to get Unizombie pretty much on the field as fast as possible. We're only running the 2 zombie worlds. Again, you can mess around with that, but since everything is searchable by everything else, only 2 zombie worlds, no terraforming. Make of it what you will. You could also possibly play around with playing Mystic Mine in zombies. That's Yeah, that it's up to you though. Like I'm not sure. I don't think it would work out too well because I think you need to have more than one monster. But yeah, otherwise, I think this deck is pretty solid. When I've tried it against other decks, obviously zombies they struggle going second. There's just really no way around it. If your opponent has multiple negates on board, no matter what build you're running, you're just gonna have a tough time. That's what the hand traps are for. That's why I think zombies almost kind of need to run hand traps, just because if you go second, you're kind of shit in the bed. Obviously, I hate degenerate floodgates. I hate rivalry combined with zombie world, but at the same time, it's like zombies are such a nerfed deck. And so bad in the format, they almost need something a little bit degenerate in order to function properly. So that's why I don't feel too bad about doing this deck profile. And zombies can do some really creative plays, so they can be fun in that aspect. I think this is about the end of it. If you guys have any suggestions for like the extra deck, if you think extravagance would works worse than something like a Pot of Desires build, let me know. I don't think Pot of Desires is really efficient in zombies just because there's too much to banish in this deck. But that's just my personal opinion, so feel free to contradict me on that one. All right, so peace, guys.